So bear with me as I figure out how to share things within that restriction while it happen. But how we doing? We've got 30 people here today, and it is technically 12:01. Shall we start?
Let's go for it. I've just started the recording, Cassie. This is Mary Shank. I'll just do a quick introduction and thank everybody for coming and giving us some of your noon time on a very timely webinar, Interact, Engage, and Create. And I'm so excited that our presenter, Cassie Labori, if that's correct, right,
It
is
is.
with us today. And Cassie comes with an awful lot of expertise in the world of virtual training, virtual whatever we're going to call it, which we'll get to some definitions later today. So Cassie, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and some of your background, and thank you so much and welcome everybody. Cassie, it's up to you.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me here today, Mary, and for meeting with me to plan everything that we've been doing. And for a shout out to Karen North for reaching out to me to ask me to be here today. She and I are connected online and have also had the opportunity to meet in person, which in my world is a little on the rare side. Most people I meet online like this, which is so interesting. But before we get started further and I do further introductions, let's all wave if you're currently on camera. Hi. You can say hi if you're off of mute, which I think most of you are muted. But if you wanted to unmute real quick and just say hi.
Hello.
It's so great.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
ATD.
everybody.
Love it.
Hello.
Lots of highs in the chat too. That's great. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so you guys can control your own mute today. We'll let you, which just like we would let you in person decide when you're going to speak out loud. Hey, just like being in real life. This is real life too. Regarding webcams, we were talking just a moment ago about you don't have to be on webcam. And in fact, Zoom's been, everybody in the world's using it. And so we've been sort of less on webcam, and probably we should not be on webcam the whole time, only come on and off on some times. And if I can get a breakout to work, we're going to do that too. So you can go back on webcam then. But just to be safe. But great. Yeah, we started today too with a little bit of fun. If you didn't already jump in on this, let's establish our working from home nicknames, how you're feeling right now, plus the last thing you ate. And if you scroll up in the chat, you can see what some of your fellow ATD chapter members have written as well, and it's quite funny. I was saying that mine is the excited scone. Hey, Megan Torrance, how are ya? That's so great. What is yours, Megan? Did you type it? The tired yogurt. You know what? Somebody needs to gather all of these, Mary, and put a story together on how all of us came together and what happened when the exhausted popcorn met the tired yogurt. And, and they went to the caffeinated oatmeal's house to have a productive salad. What happened? That's so great. All right, well, fun. Here's what we're doing. This is also documented in a participant's manual that I put together for you, which is fun. And then finally, Mary, my introduction. I get to work with people like yourselves every day. It's so wonderful, all over the world, helping you figure out how to do the thing you love doing, training, presenting, designing training, supporting training in the virtual classroom environment. So most of the work I do is done online like this, and sometimes I get to come in person and work with people too, but most of the time it's like we're doing today. And I'm so interested to hear what you call what we are doing today. And so here in a moment, let's pull up the poll. What is this? And what kind of words do you use to define what we do today, what we're doing in this 1 hour together at least? What do you call, if I'm gonna, let's expand it to, today, it's a special thing today where it's like the chapters getting together to host a special event. But what do you call it when you're doing training across your organization? Let's mark that too. If you have to do a training program in this virtual classroom environment, what are you calling it? Okay, look at this, everybody. I'm going to show the results. Basically, we don't know what we want to call it. What do you think of this? Oh my gosh. I think that the problem starts here with what this experience is like and what we're doing and what people can expect. I don't know, does anybody want to comment on this? And the way to let me know would be to click on raise hand, which is on the bottom of your participant panel. What in the world does this tell us about virtual classroom training, webinars, online training? What is your reaction to this? Murray, thank you. And come off mute, please, Murray.
Sure. Hi. Thanks. So I guess there's no standard. It's evolved over time. There's different providers. There's different reasons we do it. So it's not a consistent channel.
That's right. And Ashley, thank you, Murray. Ashley, what would you add to that? And please come off mute as well. Thanks.
I'm going to add that I think that it's still kind of new. And so everybody doesn't really know what to call it because it hasn't been around for maybe as long as what an actual breakout session or something like that or a conference would be like. So I think that it's kind of still new to everybody and they don't really know what exactly to call it.
Yeah, I mean, both of you are right. And beautiful background on your webcam, by the way.
Thank you. It's Eastern Michigan University's campus.
Oh, very nice. This is a problem. No wonder attendees don't know how to act when they come to our virtual training. Has anybody ever, green check if this is you, and been shocked by how your participants act in your webinar or your virtual training? I'm like, has anyone ever walked into a training in a conference room or in a physical space and announced themselves as they came through the door? Hi, I'm here. I just wanted to let everyone know I just walked through the door. Has anyone ever done that? Why is it okay online? What happened? It's amazing. And so here's the thing. Not only do we not have a word for it that's consistent, we also don't know how to act when we come here because I think maybe because we've never really defined it. And so I think it's important that at your organization you figure out how you define it, how your team defines it. I have tried with ATD and Training Magazine, all of them. I've tried and it's like, guys, let's make a word for it. Webinar is fairly clear, but then what about everything else? And it's pretty hard to get that to happen, and it hasn't. I've been doing this for 20 years, and still we all have different terms for it. Every company I work with calls it something different. Webinar for me, this is my definition and the way that I conduct learning events and training and how I work with my clients to let them know what type of experience they're going to get. And this is in your handout too on page 3 if you've got a copy of that along with you. So for me, a webinar, I'm going to say more than 20 people, but honestly, it's not as much about the numbers as it is about the objective. So for me, lower level learning objectives, and please feel free to type in the chat if you know what that means. What am I talking about? I know ATD always knows. ATD folks know what I'm talking about when I say that. Lower learning objectives, lots of people here. Think about, it's the keynote. It's the keynote style of learning. Knowledge, comprehension, I'm sharing information, but I'm not testing your skills. Testing or, I might be speaking about the skills that you should develop, but it's more about you knowing about them than it is you doing them. So for me, virtual classroom training, live online, virtual instructor-led training, I tend to go with virtual classroom because it just works. For the most part, it's general enough. And there's the whole live part. This is going to be smaller groups of people, and my numbers generally are less than 20 when I'm doing this, and I get to the higher level learning objectives. I'm building in collaborative activities, people working together, role-playing, working through case studies, doing teachbacks. I mean, my role, I'm teaching trainers to be trainers. My favorite number for that is about 8 to 12. But I'll always allow up to 16. And I'm getting into the application, creation, evaluation, analysis level objectives, smaller groups, generally longer amount of time too. If you're looking for me to tell you how long it should be, I'm going to tell you to go back to your objective again. How long does it take to do that? With how many people? How long will they take it from you? For me, my sweet spot's around 2 hours. I don't know, but what do you think about all this? Questions, comments, concerns, clarification needs? You can type in the chat. Certainly if you want to talk again, please raise hand. Oh, thanks. I think Terry and Mary are, take a look at that, Ashley. I'm pretty sure they emailed it out and they're probably going to make it available for download too. Cool. Thank you for asking. That was a chat answer, by the way, everybody. I'm looking at the chat. Yeah. Yeah, there's something about webinar that's kind of more connected to sales and marketing. And then when you apply sales and marketing to training, people get weird. Is that what you're finding too, Megan? Even though, come on, when we train, we sell too. But we're selling the concept, the idea, you know.
Well, yeah, right. So, but I think that with a webinar, it is, you know, I'm here, I'm going to eat my lunch, I'm going to be more or less passive, 55 minutes of PowerPoint and 5 minutes of random questions at the end in a sales pitch.
That's exactly right. Passive, the key word there, sales pitch. That's what people think. And so if we in learning and development are using webinar, then our participants are going to act like Megan perfectly described. Good. All right, so there's that. There's your first task. Determine your language around your company. No big deal. Right? If you have that kind of power, let me know what happens when you get it and how you do it. Okay. Hey, look at this great hair and this great computer. Let's start with a conversation around, you know, now that we've stressed out about terminology, let's go into the stressors of the experience. And is it everything we thought it would be? Great hair and a really cool computer. Being online and learning like this, is it just what we thought and expected? And let's hear what it's really like for you when you try to do training like we are doing today. And I would love for you to type around the screen. I purposefully have left the slide white so that you can annotate on the screen along with me. So for those of you that already know how to do it, please begin. And if you could type your name next to your response. And for those of you that are brand new to this, click on View Options up at the top of your screen right now. And then find Annotate. And then from there, click on the T. And then on the T, you can type all over my slide. Is it there for you? It is. Thanks, Seema. You're helping me out right now. Feel free to fill up my slide, guys. What's it really like to be in a virtual training? And thank you for putting your name up there. That helps me with the who wrote problems. Here in Zoom, I can annotate along with you, and I also have powers to move things. So don't worry if you type on top of one another. So click View Options, Locate Annotate. You can change the color of your text too if you want to get fancy. This, by the way, is how I teach people to use the annotation tools. I just give them a reason to use it. And then I find you find it. If I give you the reason and the instruction, you find it. And it's amazing. Look at this. Wow, yeah, we got a lot of things. People don't mute. That's the funny thing, Tracy, like I kind of don't want you to mute, but then I only want you to mute if there's things around you. And so I'd really rather you not have things around you so that you don't have to mute. I'm kind of on this thing about it, like, because when everybody's muted, then I feel like I'm here alone. But then I kind of know you need to mute because of the things. It's this thing. All these things, it can be awkward, too many distractions, hard to keep focus. Is there anything positive? It's exciting and interactive, says Todd. Good. Anything else standing out for you guys? Raise your hand if you really want to talk about the one that you see. Anything that's really standing out? We covered the miseries quite, yeah, the hair. Joe, you want to talk about the hair? Yes, let's talk about it. Very nice. I can save this, you guys, in Zoom. What this is going to let me do right now is I'm going to save all these wonderful thoughts and feelings and reactions that we've just had. And then before I move, I have to clear all the drawings. So thank you for all of your artwork and responses, which we've generally responded to. I clear it, I close my annotation, and I move, and I have this little backup slide that just says, did we cover all these things? I think we did. Tech problems, frustrations. That guy on the left is like every one of us every time we're here. Right? And has anybody tried to give any assignments to your attendees? They still don't do it. They're still the exact same excuses. I saw a couple hands, you've tried. I have better luck giving you an assignment after we have a session, like a post assignment in between sessions 1 and 2. Pre-assignment stuff, I get like 50% return rate on that. What is that? All right, like a person in a fishbowl. Thank you for adding that. All right, so for our whole remaining time together today, I want to show you how I've had success in the virtual classroom and why I like it so much. I have a 3-step instructional design process, you could say, that I follow when I put together activities, like you've already seen. And so I'd like to share with you the 3 steps, and then we will spend the remainder of our time together today just doing the activities so you can see what they feel like. And it's very interesting because we do have 48 people here. So it's interesting to see how it works with what I would call a larger group. And so you'll all have to work with me and we make it work together because we're ATD, right? Okay, so let's start with my process, and I'll come back to this after we demonstrate each activity, and we'll come back to the recipe and say, look, this is what the goal and objective was of that activity, because that's where I start. Why are we doing this? And what does that look like? The goal, company cares about; objectives, participants care. They care deeply about the objectives, right? We wish they did. That's what they're doing to be successful. And then I'm examining each objective for which one is best completed with other people live. So the objectives that could be put into discussion boards and the various wonderful learning technologies and options that we have today that don't need you to be on the calendar, live, connected, working through things together at the same time. Those are the ones that I'm going to pull into my virtual instructor-led training program. So case in point, where this plays out for me, I'm always teaching trainers to be trainers. And to be a virtual trainer, clearly you've got to learn the tool. So let's say we're learning in Zoom. Clearly you've got to click through all the steps and features and functionality of Zoom. But I have found that to be a not very social objective. Like, to me, that's best done on your own computer, so you can click through everything. However, what is important when we're together is a demonstration of why you might use those features to create learning. And so I teach people and I make a point of using all the features, and they go, how'd you do that? And I'm like, that's a great question that you will discover in your homework assignment. This is where you're going to click to bring in a whiteboard or to let people annotate. Like some of you today probably, how'd you do the annotation, right? Open your own Zoom session and find it. And in fact, I've got a Zoom platform checklist I can give you that shows you exactly where to click, right? But now you've been inspired because you want to have a great slide with that lady on it, right? Okay, so that's the second part. The third part is just then to look at your features. You've got your social objectives where you want people live together. The readings, the articles, the discussion boards, some of that can be social but differently, right? Not at the same time necessarily. Then you look at your features of your Zoom, your WebEx, your Adobe Connect, whatever you have, and you go, oh, that'd be great as a breakout. Do I have breakouts? Yes or no? That'd be great as a whiteboarded activity. That would be great as a chat, poll, whatever it is. And you then begin to build out creatively, as you do, your learning moments. Yeah, I will get you the Zoom checklist before you leave today, I promise. Questions or comments? Points of clarification needed on my simple 3 steps? Raise your hand, please, or type in the chat. That works too. And how about a green check? I get it. I'm cool. Thank you. You guys are so willing to play. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Green check, by the way, is on the bottom of the participants panel if you've not opened that yet. I like the participants panel because that's where I get to see your names and the feedback that you're giving me. Terry and Mary, thank you for enabling the nonverbal feedback so that we can use it today and see each other. Good. All right. So how about examples from here on out of just different activities? How about if we stop talking about it, and just do them for the remainder. We've got 40 minutes, right? We probably need to leave 5 at the end, I guess. We got 35 minutes. We got to move it, move it. Okay, in this first example is what I like to call a warm-up. And this is getting people ready for the learning. And often for me, it happens either right before the session starts, or it might happen just as we begin. And what I'll do, here's another version. I like to use this grumpy cat. And you could arguably say that the work from home nickname was also a warm-up activity. Anything that you're having people do that just starts to get them in the mode or mood for learning. And I find it's really helpful if you could get it to be on topic as well. Here's an example of how I do it in Adobe Connect, where I can actually create a whole layout. And notice I've got a poll, I've got a chat, I've got the webcam, I've got take files, I've got draw on screen, I've got everything, because it's kind of testing the tech too, letting people use the technology and get ready to communicate that way. Here's an example of me doing it in WebEx. This happens to be session 2 of 4 at that time, and their homework was that assignment that I described to you. Their homework was to go figure out how WebEx works, click through it using the checklist, and then when we opened up session 2, I always open 30 minutes early, and I hope that people come, and I tell them to come, because then I'm asking them, what'd you learn? What happened? What questions can I answer for you? And they're also documenting it using their annotation tools. And then as people stagger in, they join in the conversation. This also helps me have an on-time start. It's good stuff, huh? What do you think so far? Here's another one. You can keep typing in the chat. I have checklists for all the platforms on my website, Tim. I'll send it out to you guys. This one was done in Zoom, but I do this one in every platform I use. This is session 3 of 5, and this is an opening activity. Session 2 was about presenting online. Session 3 is going to be about facilitation. And so then I'm asking them, hey, why don't you tell me what you know about these 2 different techniques? Are they different? How different are they? What are the things that we do? And so I asked people to type on the left underneath present the things we do, type underneath the right the things we do when we facilitate. And then I facilitated a whole conversation from this and went on then to define it according to my perspective and what we were going to be learning. But importantly for me, the warm-up was to check in with each of you and let you share what you already know, adult learning principle, and let me know what you already know too, so I know how to frame and move through the next moments. So those are all examples of the type of warm-up activities that I'm going to use, connected to content and experience, and also getting people to use the tools of the platform so they know how to communicate while they're together online. Yeah, Teams keeps on changing things, Linda. It keeps getting better. Currently, Teams for me has been really wonderful for having meetings. And like if I work in a company, by the way, guys, I'm answering a question in chat. If I work in a company and I've got my login to the whole Microsoft Office suite, Teams is a really nice way for me to share files, conduct, discussions like you do on any kind of channel, and then quickly get into online meetings, share my screen. And from what I understand, you can do things like you can add on things for whiteboards, and it keeps growing and changing. It's difficult for me as somebody who's outside of an organization to have access to all the features of Teams, but I know that supposedly I can. I just haven't seen it yet, and I keep hoping somebody can show me how to make Teams as awesome as the rest of them. It's Microsoft has got to be good. Okay. So those are the warm-ups, and I would love to move into icebreakers now, and here's where we can play if you're game for this. These icebreakers are important for getting to know each other when that is necessary for what you're teaching. Important for you to know that I don't think that an icebreaker is always required. This is when you decide to require them, and don't cut them out of your virtual classroom, because it's also an opportunity to teach the tools, and people do need to get more comfortable online. So that's another opportunity to do that. And so here's my most favorite one. Actually, my 2 most favorite ones are here today. We're doing both of them. Okay, this is my first most favorite. And so in the chat, you can respond with the number and a brief description. But which one of these images best describes you today in your role as virtual trainer or designer, if that's what you do, virtual learning and development professional. Which of these images best describes you, and how about a few words as to why? Thanks for typing that in the chat. Yes, Megan. Do it. Oh my goodness. Would anyone like to talk about what you wrote? If you'd like to verbally share, you can come on webcam too, but please raise your hand. You can unmute and camera. Let's hear from a couple people. Joe Wyndham, let's hear from you. Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Cassie. You know, I've been doing this a long time, and yet I still see that there are people that have never gone to this place before of facilitating online learning, and not just a webinar. Webinars I love and are great, but even an online class, a virtual instructor-led class, which I had the chance to work on many, many years ago. And it seems like it's still new to many, many people.
It's true.
That's the way I feel sometimes. And I'm glad to introduce people to it. And I feel, of course, you're a great practitioner of it, and help lead the way in saying there are standards, there are things that we can do to make it high quality.
Oh, that's so cool. Could you remind us too, Joe, what number you had chosen? And I missed
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry, number 7.
Yeah, no, yeah, New Frontier. Still a new
Right.
frontier, but maybe
To go
you're
where
captain.
no one has gone before sometimes.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Because I can't resist, just for a second here, look at my virtual background now. Permission to enter the bridge.
Make it so, Cassie, make it so.
I mean, you made that available to me so easy, so I had to go with it. Great. Oh, thanks, Joe. Everyone, let's show Joe a round of applause, or appreciation for sharing in front of a very large group today. Thank you. Awesome. How about Megan? Thanks, Megan.
Oh, actually, I was putting my hand up and down to thank them. But I think what's interesting, right? There's lots going on, right? We're designing, we're teaching, we're learning about this. So there's so many different things, and that's why I wanted to superimpose the pictures on all of them. I would like to be peaceful, but it feels like my head is exploding, and I'd like to be exploring, and I need a chill pill. So all the above.
All of the above. Who can relate? Green check. Right? Oh my gosh. Interesting times we are living in. I love this activity so much. You guys, you got to reuse this one. You could just change the question. You know, which image best describes you in your role as a leader? You know, or in your current situation on your current project. It can be changed and used in so many different ways. And the instructional design strategy here really is just images with a question that says relate to this image in some way and let's make meaning. So there's so many different ways you could use this and change this in your own programming. When I have a smaller group, I do have people type, like Murray put the pointer up there, and then I think, I don't know that if Murray typed on the blue, but you could also type. It's just that when there's a large group, the typing gets a little bit, you can't see it. And so that's why I've got the numbers in the chat as an alternative for a larger audience. Good. You like this one? You see why it's one of my favorites? Yes. It's good. Okay, how about the next one? This one's going to be a little tricky. It's one of my most favorites also. It's another icebreaker that I learned in a Train the Trainer program that I did early on in my career. I didn't end up doing the job. It was for project management software, which didn't inspire me too much, but hey, someone's got to do it. But it didn't work for me. But that day that I went to the Train the Trainer program, there was this wonderful icebreaker, and it was back in the 90s, a long time ago. And I love the icebreaker so much that I do it online, and it works just as well online, and I can't wait to share it with you. This icebreaker is specifically for people who teach others new things. So let's play. This one's super fun. look around you and select an object. Anything, it doesn't matter what it is. Got it? Write down 5 characteristics that describe your object. So get a piece of paper and just jot down 5 things that describe your object. And how about a green check when you're done with that? Don't overthink it. Not to be worried about. Does anybody know this icebreaker? Raise your hand if you already know it. It's better if you don't know it, because then what's coming next is more of a surprise. Okay, I know Joe knows it. Okay, it's hard when you know it. It doesn't work the same. Okay, ready? Here goes. Highlight 2 characteristics of that object that also describe you. And let's share it. It should be a little awkward. Find a box on the screen, type your name if you're willing. Type your name, type the object that you chose and the 2 characteristics that also describe you. And what I would love is to hear from a couple people. This should be slightly awkward, actually, and it's meant to be. You could try using the pointer, Colleen, but as soon as someone else uses it, they will steal it from you. That's how Zoom works. So you may try to just type your name in that box, and that way you can keep it. So again, view options, click annotate, find the capital T. Type your name, the object you chose, and the 2 characteristics that also describe you. Yeah, if you want to go to the chat, you can go to the chat too. That works, guys. Colleen, thank you. Very nice. If there's anybody who really wants to talk about it, why don't you raise your hand? I would love it. We would love to hear it. Any takers? Yeah, this is where the volunteering gets a little more quiet, but not with trainers usually. Like Dawn, take us away, Dawn. Thank you. Are you the one with the moss wall? Make sure you unmute.
Sorry, I was looking for the command. It wasn't where I thought it was. Anyway,
No worries.
I have a small moss wall. I was in Chicago with a client and they had a whole wall that was a moss wall.
Wow.
So it really inspired me, and I like things that inspire me in my office. So among those 5 things that I chose to describe it that please me are that it's natural. So it's not, so much of the stuff that we do is very, organized and made up. And then it's also contemporary. So those are the 2 things I liked about it.
Oh, Dawn, natural and contemporary. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love it. Thank you. How about Colleen? You were the first one up there. Spiky and calming Colleen. We must hear more.
Hi. I guess I could be spiky sometimes. And then, yeah, calming. So this is just a little succulent plant that's on my desk.
Oh, I was wondering, what is the thing that you chose? That's
yeah,
right.
It's kind of
Very
spiky,
nice.
but also calming.
Oh, yeah, it's true. And that kind of plant is. That's so interesting. Colleen, remember that, you guys. Colleen is spiky and calming. I love it. That's wonderful. Thank you for being willing to share that over the audio with us today. And are you guys looking at what your chapter member colleagues have written? It's enjoyable. When I'm, you can see this is an activity that probably lends itself more towards the smaller groups, because I do usually have every single person describe, and there's a whole method to the madness of this, because you might have recalled that I said, by the way, I saved this, and I will make sure, Terry and Mary, I'll send this to you so that you can share it, okay? I think this is just a great thing to keep for your teams. Here, I moved it a little so you can all be seen here. Yeah, you can see it gets a little tricky with lots of people, but there we go. Okay, saving. The reason that this is for people who teach people things is that it's good for us as trainers to remember that people won't pick an object that they don't know what it is. People observe things that they know. And so that's important for us to recall, like as we're teaching things that we've often taught a lot, you know, did you ever have that moment where you're like, why aren't they getting it? You know, and this is just a reminder of they've never seen it. They don't even know what it is. They don't even see it. And then it gets us into the send and receive mode necessary for communication, and then being able to reflect upon when people communicate with us, what it may mean, what it's like, the whole experience of just new and potentially unknown things. Nice work. Here's the recipe for that. How much fun is that one? And Joe, you said you'd seen that before you knew that icebreaker. What was your reaction to doing it online like this? And I didn't even give you any warning, Joe. I just called on you. Yeah, thank you for coming
Oh,
off
okay.
mute.
All right, sorry.
Yeah,
I
no,
thought,
thanks.
oh, I missed something there. Yeah. The nice thing about it is, of course, I think it's in people's comfort zone, first of all, to talk about something close to them and something that they can relate to easily, as opposed to an abstract or, you know, very academic topic that they might have to have more than just a little bit to share with or to know about. So I think that's good. And I do think that the opportunity to use the interface in a task that's easy also is a familiarization and a comfort level builder.
Mm-hmm.
And you also build togetherness in the group by finding out, oh, that's interesting. I just learned something about somebody.
Yeah, that necessary for the training that you're conducting, maybe
Yeah.
not necessary. Just depends on if you wanted to use that type of icebreaker for that. So Joe, thank you so much. Oh, Liz, thank you. What would you like to add?
Well, I love that activity, and I'm kind of curious. So did we all pick items, and then the things that were most, you know, that we picked that most kind of like describe our style of training? You know, this kind of gives listening, there's such great different object or the words of description were just kind of really interesting, and thought, gosh, is that our teaching style? Is that kind of like who we like to be?
It deserves further investigation, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, you know what I'll do? I'll make sure to send that screenshot over to Mary and Terry, okay? And then maybe the next time you all get together with your chapter event, you can analyze it. Or someone could take it and look at it. You never know. But so interesting. Good points. All right. Well, hey, how are we doing on time? 12:38 Eastern. Okay. Are we ready to potentially break Zoom? I'd rather we didn't break it, but hey, should we just try? I'm of that ilk. I would love to try team building. This is actually a communication skills activity. Has anyone ever done this? Sit back to back, one person draws a picture, the other person has to describe it, and it's meant to be a communication skills training. Green check if you've ever done that in person. Yeah, I love this activity, mainly because I just love the hilarious pictures. But also the learning that happens. I would love to try to do this online, but okay. Normally when I do this, I have smaller groups and I put people in teams of 2, and I send one person the image and let the other person draw it on a whiteboard. What I thought I would try to do today, because I know I've got lots of people, and I just kind of want to see if we can do it in a way that'll be easier than that and a little quicker. I thought, how about if I just made the file that is the picture available to everyone, but don't download it unless you're going to be the person who's going to describe the drawing. Okay, what I'd like to do is put you into breakouts with about approximately 4 people, and one person needs to be the one to describe the drawing, and then the rest of you will just get a piece of paper out and just physically draw what they're saying. And you don't watch each other, like the person describing, don't watch them draw it. And then when they're done, they can hold it up on the webcam and show it and see how they did. Does that seem to make some kind of sense? I just need to give you the picture to draw, but it's like one person takes the image and says, I'll be the one to describe, and then the other 3 or 4 of you, you'll be the ones to draw the picture, and then you can hold them up on the webcams and show each other and see how you did. And then what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll show them on the webcam and see how it looks. Does this seem to make some sense? Yeah, it's kind of complicated. So, but not too much. So I think what I need to do is, you guys, I need to put you into breakouts, and I've actually already done that because Zoom lets me do it automatically. And I'm just going to randomly put you together. I don't know who you're working with and if you know each other, but you'll know each other after this breakout, right? And so you're going to be in with either 3 or 4 people. And one of you needs to be the one to say, I've got an image, I'll describe it. And I'm going to give you 3 images to choose from. So let me see how this is going to work. I'm going to stop sharing. So, oh yeah, don't look at that, whatever. And what I'm going to do here is put the link here in the chat. And Kara has posted, thanks Kara, she put 3 files up there. And so what you should all do right now is click on that link. And you should see when you click the link that there are 3 Microsoft Word files there. And there's 1 image per. And so don't open the images yet, because if you're the person drawing, you wouldn't want to look at the image, right? Makes sense? Todd, in the chat, just above where you typed, if you click that link. Oh, is it blocked? Okay. Is it blocked by like all of you?
It depends on the company. My company blocks stuff like that. So
Okay.
I'll have to draw. I won't be able to describe.
So you have to be in a group with person who can.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. Let's do this. I'm going to make 12. I'm going to make 12 rooms with, actually I'll make 10 rooms, make the groups just a tiny bit bigger for the chance to be better. How's that sound? There's going to be 4 people per room. I'm making 10 rooms. Okay, so let's just see what happens. And what I'll do is I'll try to come by, and one of you just needs to download one of the images and be able to draw it. And here's the thing, I have an idea, guys. If you can't, if you're in a group and no one can download one of the images, then just make something up and just tell them what to draw, okay? It's not, we don't have to make this super hard. Let's just, you know, make something up, have them draw it, see if they listen to you and they draw what you intended, okay? So for now, let's try this. I'm gonna turn on the breakout rooms. You just need to click yes, or yes, I agree, join the breakout room. And we'll go in there for a few minutes. I'll come by and see how you're doing, get situated. We'll come back, we'll talk about how it went. And before you know it, it'll be time for me to say, hey, gotta let you go. So let's try this. If you're game, green check if you're ready. Okay. Okay, let's try it. It's gonna be fun. It might also be a little chaotic, but we're okay, right? Here goes. You've been invited. All right, if you're watching the recording, they're going into breakouts, and so you're gonna just have to fast forward a little bit and wait until we come back for the next couple of minutes. I'll pause it. Talking while mute, never happens in person, only online. How did it go, you guys? We're getting everyone back. Yeah, let's show the pictures. Thank you, Murray, it's perfect. Let's see them, and how did they end up, how'd you guys do? So good. Oh, this is great. Welcome back. Hey, everybody. Getting situated again. I always like to open up my participants and chat panel so I can see everyone in the list as well. That way, whoever's not on camera, I still see your name. But yeah, hold up your pictures. How'd you guys do? How was that for you? I dropped in on one team and they said the outcome is the same online as it is in person. You know, that's so wonderful. Oh, that's great. That
Are we
one.
showing our stuff, Cassie?
Yeah, people are. If you want to, go ahead. It's so good.
All right.
Oh my goodness. You have the one, the little vampire one, Joe. I like her. Her little heart. Mm,
What do you think? I don't know.
it's pretty good.
I haven't looked at the original now. I guess I should.
That was number 5.
I know. You guys want to see the originals probably, right? I do have them someplace. I'll show you in a moment. It's
I was
so
thinking
fun.
I need to sign off before that.
I know. Here, I better, let me open them. Hold on. Let me see. Originals coming. Originals coming. It looks like, let me open them and then this is the thing where I can't share my whole screen. I can only share one thing at a time. So let's see. There we go. Here's one of them. This is an original here.
That is not it. That's not the one we did, Joe.
That's not the one you had.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them. So let's see. Here's another one. Cuteness.
Oh,
And then Is it showing to you guys? Yeah.
No,
And then here's another one.
I didn't see it switch.
Still the same picture.
Oh,
Yeah,
all
it's
right. This is that whole sharing thing. It won't let me share more than one thing. Come on, here's one of them.
Oh, that's
Right?
we've narrowed it down.
And then hold on, here's one more. The vampire. I call her the vampire with,
Oh, okay.
with much
All
love.
right.
Yeah.
Good
You
job.
all right, you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. This is such a fun activity. I run this one all the time with people, like, in the train the trainer programs, and just anytime you need to do communication training, it's really powerful. And people still learn, how well they communicate or how they don't, their own interpretations. And then I spend time usually using chat or discussing over audio or both. What do we learn from that? And obviously you debrief it properly, but it's also just so much fun to do it. Such a great activity. I've got a couple of other examples that are in your participant manual. This is one where I put people in breakouts and I have quotes, and I just have people discuss which quote they're drawn to and why, and what it may mean about them. In this case, it's change, that maybe their style, their leadership style, or what's happening on their team or at their organization. And this is really powerful. Just I put the quotes in their participant manual, or I hand them the file using the file transfer and somebody just shares to it. But the main thing is just to encourage conversation. So that's another really powerful breakout activity that works well. What you'll find in the participant manual are a few more examples, but I'd love to share with you as a close here just some instructional strategies. I have had people say to me, "Can you stop calling on me? I'm in another meeting." So, sorry. Set expectations that we're going to be interacting. I know. I love that. I love that it happened though, because it's a great story. People need really clear instructions. They're already confused being online, so be very clear with them on what they're doing. I tend to have instructions in the manual printed. I have it on the slide, but simple action words, and then I try to vocalize it as clearly and simply as possible. Instructions are key. Every single time, what are we doing? You get in the breakout room and you go, what are we doing? What'd she say? So use the participant manuals to help you. It's on page 12, everyone, they won't know. I don't design content. I design what you're going to do with it. It's an interesting angle, because of course there's lots of content out there, but what are you doing with it? And why do you need to know that? To what end? And so that changes too you from being a presenter to more of a facilitator, a guide on the side while you're here. Give people a chance to contribute so that you can assess where they're at through questions, through activity, through commenting, through trying different things. So beyond testing, but just letting them have opportunities to demonstrate what they've learned and how they're making meaning out of that. And of course, to do all of this in the Zooms and the WebExes and the Adobes, you've got to have some tech skills. And I always just like to play with this concept of being a ninja. And here's how I become a ninja. I click on everything. And honestly, my favorite one's probably the third bullet. I try to break it. You actually heard me say that today. There's 40 people here. Let's try to break the breakouts. And then they work. And now we know, oh, what did I need to do differently? And how did I make that work? And just keep using it over and over again. And it helps you to grow the confidence. I generally will log in a second computer as an attendee and have it actually at my desk. I actually have another computer sitting right here, and I log it in as a second attendee so I can see exactly what you're seeing and how things are working. It helps me tremendously. So those are the things that I do to master the technology. I had mentioned that I have checklists available. You're welcome to download them. This is my website here. Let me see if I can get that in the chat for you, but you may be blocked from going to it if I type it in the chat, huh? I might try here. Let's try 3 W's. Can I spell my own name? Normally I would copy and paste, but I didn't today. I should though, right? Did I do it? I hope so. You can download all sorts of stuff, guys. The participant workbook was made specifically for us today, so you've got that that Mary and Terry have made available, and there's all kinds of other things available on my site for you to download. Thank you. That are the checklists and other things that you might find interesting regarding virtual training. So on that note, we're right 1 minute. Yes, I'm going to stay for questions. I don't have to go right now. And so if you have a little more time to stay, I'm happy to stay and answer the questions. I wrote a book on this stuff. You can check it out at ATD or at Amazon. And today we've planted the seed. The fruits shall come later. Don't stress too much. And a science tip. Here's how you can distinguish the alligator from the crocodile. That's an important thing. Thank you for having me. It's been a true pleasure. You all are so much fun. And I've been looking forward to it. And of course, you didn't disappoint. So thank you so much. Who's got the first question?
Cassie, this is Mary Shank, and as we're waiting for questions to come in, this was awesome. I've learned a lot. I have a lot of takeaways and really appreciate it. We'll do a follow-up and make sure everyone has your participant guide and the materials that we had sent. So we'll probably do another follow-up with everyone that was registered to making
Thank
sure they
you.
have your tools. We have been recording this, so we will also get that link out. So I appreciate that. And I'm going to stop that now.